The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched wider than most human cities. Ambassador Lisa Martinez walked across the polished floor, her footsteps echoing in the vast space. Behind her came the rest of Earth's delegation, Commander Jake Sullivan in his crisp military uniform, Captain Amy Watson with her pilot's badge gleaming, and Dr. Ryan Clark carrying the thick folder of humanity's achievements. Lisa had practiced this moment for months. Today, humanity would finally ask for full membership in the Galactic Council. For 30 years, Earth had served as what the aliens called a junior partner. Humans built their space stations, mined their asteroids, and fought their border. Wars. But humans could not vote on galactic law. Humans could not access advanced alien technology. Humans were treated like useful pets. The council members sat in their assigned sections. The Veltar looked like walking crystals, tall and sharp, their bodies catching the light from the chamber's artificial suns. Their leader, Prime Zethkara, was the biggest among them, his crystal form towering 12 feet high. Next to them sat the Krythek, looking like giant insects with too many arms and clicking mandibles. Their representative, high voice Zixif, never stopped making small chittering sounds. The Nebulans floated in their containment suits, their gaseous bodies shifting colors as they communicated. The Synthoids looked almost human, except their skin was metal, and their eyes glowed with internal light. There were dozens of other species, each one ancient, each one certain of their superiority over the newcomer humans. Lisa reached the speaking platform and activated the translation device. Her words would be heard in every language across the galaxy. "Honored council members," she began, "I come before you today to formally request full membership status for humanity in the Galactic Council." A ripple of what might have been laughter passed through the alien delegates. Prime Zethkara's crystal body flashed brighter, which Lisa knew meant amusement. "Ambassador Martinez," Zethkara's voice boomed through the translation system, "your species has served adequately as junior partners. Why do you seek to complicate this arrangement?" Lisa had expected this question, because humanity has earned the right to full membership. "In 30 years, we have built 60% of the Council's current infrastructure. Human workers constructed the great shipyards of Vega Prime. Human engineers designed the asteroid mining platforms that supply raw materials to half the galaxy. Human soldiers guard the border worlds where others fear to go." "Yes," clicked high voice. "Zixth, humans excel at manual labor. Your species is physically robust and willing to work in dangerous conditions. This makes you valuable as workers, not as decision makers." Commander Sullivan stepped forward. Lisa saw his jaw tighten, a sign that he was fighting to control his temper. "With respect, high voice, human contributions go far beyond manual labor. The defensive grid protecting the inner systems uses tactical doctrines developed by human military minds. The trade routes that keep your economies running were mapped by human explorers. The agricultural programs feeding your growing populations were designed by human scientists." A Nebulan delegate, speaking through harmonized gas emissions, added its voice. "These are practical matters. Useful, but not requiring the philosophical depth necessary for true galactic governance. Your species is too young, too aggressive, too driven by primitive emotions." Dr. Clark opened his folder and pulled out a datapad. "If I may, honored delegates, I would like to present some numbers. Since joining the galactic community, humanity has filed over 12,000 patents for new technologies. We have solved engineering problems that had stumped council scientists for decades. The quantum resonance drives now used by most council ships were invented by a human physicist. The universal translator you are using right now was improved by human linguists who added emotional context algorithms. Clever applications of existing knowledge," dismissed a Synthoid representative. "Your minds work quickly, we grant this. But speed of thought is not wisdom. Your species lacks the long perspective necessary for guiding galactic civilization. Lisa felt the familiar frustration building. Every achievement dismissed, every contribution minimized, every human innovation explained away as lucky accident or primitive cleverness. "What more do you want from us?" she asked. "We have bled for this council. Human soldiers have died, defending worlds they had never seen, protecting species that barely acknowledge their sacrifice. We have worked in radiation zones that would kill most of you. We have solved problems that your species had given up on. What more must we prove?" Prime Zethkara's crystal form dimmed slightly. "Ambassador, your passion demonstrates exactly why humanity is not ready for full membership. You become emotional when challenged. You take offense at honest evaluation. The species of the Galactic Council have moved beyond such primitive reactions. We make decisions based on logic, tradition, and proven wisdom accumulated over millennia. Your species has been in space for barely a century," added another Veltar delegate. "We have guided galactic civilization for 50,000 years. The Kraythak have maintained perfect social order for 30,000 years. The Nebiolans achieved pure intellectual existence 20,000 years ago. What wisdom can a species offer when its oldest governments are measured in mere hundreds of years?" Captain Watson had remained silent until now, but Lisa saw her hands clenched into fists. "Age is not the same as wisdom," Watson said quietly. "A species that has never faced real challenges may have learned nothing but stagnation." The chamber fell silent. No junior partner had ever spoken so boldly to the council. Zethkara's voice carried a new edge of coldness. "Captain Watson, your comment reveals the arrogance that makes your species unsuitable for leadership. You dare suggest that the ancient civilizations of this council have learned nothing from their vast experience?" "I suggest," Watson replied, meeting the alien's glowing gaze, "that a civilization that has not faced serious conflict in thousands of years may have forgotten how to adapt when challenges arise." "Enough," Zethkara declared. "This display of human arrogance confirms our decision. Humanity's application for full membership is denied. Your species may continue to serve as junior partners, providing the labor and military service for which you are suited. But you lack the maturity, the wisdom, and the philosophical development necessary for true galactic citizenship." Lisa felt something cold settle in her stomach. She had expected this result, but hearing it still hurt. Around her, she sensed her team's disappointment and anger. "I see," she said quietly. "Then humanity thanks the Council for this clarification of our relationship." She turned to face her delegation, seeing the same realization in their eyes. They had tried negotiation. They had tried proving their worth. They had tried earning respect through service and sacrifice. None of it mattered to these ancient species who saw humans as useful primitives. Lisa turned back to face the Council. "In that case, I invoke Article 847 of the Galactic Compact. Humanity formally withdraws from all cooperative agreements with the Galactic Council, effective immediately." The silence in the great chamber was absolute. In 50,000 years of Council history, no species had ever voluntarily left their protection. "You cannot be serious," Zethkara said, his crystal form flickering with what humans had learned to recognize as shock. "Completely serious," Lisa replied. "If we are not suitable for partnership, then we will end the pretense of cooperation. All human personnel, all human-built infrastructure, all human-designed systems will be withdrawn from Council space within 1 standard year. You will not survive without Council protection," warned high-voiced Zixed H. "The galaxy is dangerous for isolated species. Pirates, raiders, hostile entities we have kept at bay for millennia." Captain Watson smiled, and Lisa recognized the expression. It was the same smile human pilots wore when accepting impossible missions. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and nuclear weapons. We survived on a planet that tried to kill us every day for 200,000 years. I think we can handle whatever the galaxy throws at us." "This is madness," declared a Nebulan delegate. "Your emotional reactions are leading you to species suicide." Lisa gathered her documents and walked toward the chamber exit. Her delegation fell in behind her, their footsteps echoing across the silent hall at the great doors. She turned back one final time. "Honored delegates, you have made your position clear. You want workers, not partners. You want obedience, not cooperation. You want the benefits of human capability without the inconvenience of human opinions. We understand completely." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Goodbye." As the human delegation left the chamber, few of the alien delegates seemed concerned. They assumed this was an emotional outburst that would pass. Humans would realize their mistake and come back begging for readmission within months. They had no idea they had just made the greatest mistake in galactic history. Captain Ben Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of New Geneva Station and watched the last construction crew finish their work. But they were not building anything new. They were carefully removing every piece of human technology from the massive space station that had taken 8 years to construct. 6 months had passed since Ambassador Martinez walked out of the Galactic Council chambers. The aliens had expected humans to change their minds within weeks. Instead, they discovered that humans meant exactly what they said. Every human citizen, every human-built machine, every human innovation was coming home. "Sir, the Veltar delegation is requesting another meeting," reported Lieutenant Kelly Brooks from her position at the communications console. Her fingers moved quickly across the holographic controls, managing dozens of conversations at once. "They are offering triple the standard compensation if we leave the station operational." Rodriguez shook his head without looking away from the viewport. Through the transparent aluminum, he could see human workers in environmental suits, carefully disconnecting the quantum power cores that kept the station running. "Tell them no. The same answer we gave yesterday and the day before that." New Geneva Station was the crown jewel of human engineering in galactic space. Built inside an asteroid field where radiation levels would kill most alien species within hours, it served as the primary shipyard for the entire Galactic Council fleet. The station could construct everything from small patrol craft to massive battleships. Its automated factories could produce spare parts for 10,000 different vessel types. Its research laboratories had solved engineering problems that had puzzled alien scientists for centuries. All of it designed by human minds. All of it built by human hands. All of it operated by human workers who could function in the deadly environment that made the location perfect for construction. "The Crythik are getting desperate," reported Chief Engineer Laura Phillips over the com system. She was coordinating the dismantling of the Titan Forge complex, the series of automated factories that produced hull plating for 70% of Council military vessels. "Their drone workers cannot handle the temperature variations in the stellar furnaces. They are begging us to stay and train replacement crews." Rodriguez almost smiled at that. The Titan Forge complex operated inside the corona of a small star, using the stellar energy to create materials stronger than anything possible with conventional technology. The working temperature ranged from 1,500 to 3,000 degrees. Most alien species would be vaporized instantly at those temperatures. Humans, wearing their specially designed environmental suits, could work there for hours at a time. "Same answer for everyone," Rodriguez told his crew. "We strip everything human designed, human built, or human improved. If they want the empty shells, they can have them." Similar scenes were playing out across hundreds of star systems. Dr. Ryan Clark managed the withdrawal from the Perseus Mining Consortium, where human workers had spent 15 years extracting rare minerals from asteroids with such high radiation levels that they glowed in the dark, the mining equipment, the processing plants, the radiation shields that made the work possible. All human innovations that had turned worthless, radioactive rocks into valuable resources. The Nebialans are panicking, Clark reported during the daily coordination meeting. Their energy-based physiology cannot interact with solid matter effectively. They relied completely on our equipment to extract and process the materials they need for their technology. Commander Steve Harrison was overseeing the military withdrawal from the Outer Rim defense grid. For 20 years, human patrol ships had maintained security along the dangerous border regions where pirates and raiders threatened peaceful systems. The early warning networks, the rapid response protocols, the tactical doctrines that kept the shipping lanes safe, all developed by human military minds, trained in the brutal lessons of Earth's own violent history. Pirate activity has increased by 300% since we started pulling back, Harrison reported to the coordination meeting. His weathered face showed no emotion, but Rodriguez could hear the frustration in his voice. The border worlds are terrified. Some are offering to declare independence from the Council if we will continue protecting them. Our orders are clear. Rodriguez reminded him. Complete withdrawal, no exceptions. It was not an easy decision for any of them. These humans had spent years, sometimes decades, building relationships with alien colleagues. They had saved alien lives, protected alien worlds, solved alien problems. Many had friends among the non-human species they worked alongside, but every attempt at cooperation had been met with condescension. Every human achievement had been dismissed as lucky accident or primitive cleverness. Every request for respect had been denied with explanations about human emotional immaturity and lack of wisdom. Lieutenant Maria Santos, Harrison's aide, provided the daily security briefing. 3 more systems have fallen to raiders this week. The Vel-Tar Defense Force cannot adapt their tactics quickly enough. They keep trying to use the same strategies that worked against disorganized pirates, but the raiders are learning and coordinating their attacks. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Human military doctrine emphasized adaptability and rapid response to changing conditions. Earth's history of constant warfare had taught humans to expect the unexpected and modify their tactics. On the fly, the peaceful alien species, who had known nothing but stability for thousands of years, struggled to match this flexibility. The agricultural stations are reporting massive crop failures, added Dr. Michelle Foster, who was coordinating the withdrawal of human farming specialists from 17 different worlds. The hydroponic systems are breaking down without human oversight. The aliens assumed our agricultural methods were simple because we use biological processes instead of purely technological ones. They did not understand that managing living systems requires intuition and adaptability that their computer programs cannot replicate. The reports continued for hours. Every sector of galactic civilization was experiencing problems as humans withdrew their expertise. Transportation networks failed without human logistics coordinators. Manufacturing plants stopped working without human maintenance crews. Scientific research projects stalled without human problem-solving approaches. The Council is starting to realize what they are losing, Brooks reported. We are receiving hundreds of requests daily for humans to stay. They are offering everything: full citizenship, technology sharing, voting rights, territorial concessions. Too late, Rodriguez said quietly. We offered partnership. They wanted servants. The decision has been made. He walked to the main communication console and opened a channel to all human facilities throughout Council space. The withdrawal had been voluntary so far, with humans choosing to leave rather than stay without respect. But some alien governments were getting desperate enough to consider forcing humans to remain. Attention all human personnel, Rodriguez broadcast. Operation Exodus continues on schedule. Any facility, government, or organization that attempts to prevent human departure will be placed on a permanent exclusion list. Any humans choosing to remain behind do so without Earth government support or protection. The message was clear. Humanity was leaving, with or without alien cooperation. As the weeks passed, the scale of the withdrawal became apparent even to the most arrogant council members. Cargo ships carried away not just human workers, but the tools they had designed, the machines they had built, the improvements they had made to alien technology. Research laboratories lost not just human scientists, but the experimental data and innovative approaches that had driven recent breakthroughs. The most dramatic moment came when Captain Amy Watson led the final evacuation convoy from the Vega shipyards. The massive facilities had produced 40% of all Council military vessels for the past decade. As the human ships departed, they took with them the manufacturing specifications, the quality control protocols, and the engineering knowledge that made the shipyards function. The Veltar are offering to make humanity a founding member of a new council, Watson reported as her convoy reached the edge of council space. Full voting rights, equal representation, complete technology sharing. Rodriguez watched the last human transport disappear into hyperspace and shook his head. Too little, too late. They had 30 years to offer us partnership. They chose superiority instead. Behind them, they left the galaxy suddenly realizing how much it had depended on the species it had dismissed as primitive newcomers, the humans. They had treated as useful but inferior workers had been the foundation holding galactic civilization together. Now that foundation was gone, and the galaxy was about to learn what happened when you lost the only species that knew how to fix things. When they broke down. Prime Zethkara stared at the holographic display showing the latest crisis reports, his crystalline form flickering with patterns that indicated deep distress. 1 year had passed since humanity's departure from Council space, and what had started as minor inconveniences had grown into catastrophic failures across every sector of galactic civilization. The first reports had seemed manageable. Production delays at the shipyards, minor accidents at mining facilities, temporary disruptions in agricultural output. The council members had assumed their advanced technology and ancient wisdom would easily compensate for the loss of human workers. They had been catastrophically wrong. Production at the Vega shipyards has dropped to 12% of normal capacity, reported Administrator Velenok, his crystal body dim with exhaustion. The automated systems we installed to replace human workers cannot adapt to the constant variables that arise during construction. Every small problem requires reprogramming instead of intuitive adjustment. Zethkara had reviewed the technical reports himself. The Veltar had tried to replace human shipyard workers with sophisticated computer programs that could handle every possible construction scenario. But reality proved messier than programming. When a component arrived with slightly different specifications, human workers would adapt their assembly techniques automatically. The computer programs would shut down and wait for new instructions. When materials arrived with minor flaws, human workers would compensate with creative solutions. The computer programs would reject the materials and halt production. When unexpected complications arose during construction, human workers would find innovative workarounds. The computer programs would log error reports and stop working. The Perseus Mining Consortium is reporting similar problems. Added mining coordinator Kritak, his insectoid mandibles clicking with agitation. Our drone workers cannot function in the high radiation environments where humans operated routinely. The specialized equipment humans designed and maintained has broken down without their expertise. The mining crisis was even worse than the production problems. Humans had worked in conditions that would kill most alien species within minutes, extracting valuable resources from locations everyone else considered too dangerous to approach. They had designed radiation-resistant equipment, developed new extraction techniques, and created safety protocols that allowed sustained operations in deadly environments. Without human workers and human-designed equipment, the mining operations had simply stopped. The consortium had tried sending robotic replacements, but the machines broke down faster than they could be repaired. The hostile environments that humans had conquered through ingenuity and determination proved impossible for automated systems to handle. Food production is failing across 17 systems, reported Agricultural Minister Nebroth through harmonized gas emissions. The hydroponic systems humans designed require constant adjustment based on biological feedback that our sensors cannot measure accurately. Zethkara found this failure particularly troubling because it revealed how little the Council had understood human capabilities. They had dismissed human agriculture as primitive because it relied on biological processes instead of pure technology. They had not realized that managing living systems required an intuitive understanding of complex interactions that no computer program could replicate. Human farmers had monitored their crops with senses evolved over millions of years to detect subtle changes in living organisms. They could smell diseases before sensors detected them, notice stress patterns before instruments measured them, and make adjustments based on experience that no database could contain. The border defense situation is approaching catastrophic failure, announced Defense Coordinator Synthek, his metallic features showing stress patterns. Pirate raids have increased by 400%. 3 outer systems have been completely overrun. This crisis struck at the heart of Council arrogance. For 20 years, human patrol fleets had maintained security along the dangerous frontier regions using tactics developed through millennia of warfare on Earth. The Council species, which had known peace for thousands of years, had assumed their advanced technology made them superior warriors. They had learned otherwise when faced with enemies who used human-inspired tactics against them. The pirates and raiders had studied human military doctrine and adapted it for their own use. They employed unpredictable strategies, rapid tactical changes, and creative use of available resources. The Council forces, trained for conventional conflicts against predictable opponents, found themselves consistently outmaneuvered. How did we fail to understand their importance? Asked High Voice Zixith during an emergency council session. The humans were involved in every major operation, every critical system, every essential function. Senior Analyst Nebulin Vorth provided the uncomfortable answer through carefully modulated gas harmonics. We categorized them based on their newest technologies rather than their fundamental capabilities. While our species spent millennia perfecting individual specializations, humans developed broad-spectrum competence. They became capable of handling any task adequately, and some tasks exceptionally well. The revelation was shocking to species that had built their entire civilization on the concept of specialized excellence. The Veltar were master engineers, but helpless at biological sciences. The Krythak excelled at organization, but struggled with creative problem-solving. The Nevi Islands were brilliant theorists, but could barely interact with physical matter. Each species had become supremely capable within narrow fields. While losing the ability to adapt to new challenges, humans had remained generalists. They could learn any skill, adapt to any environment, and find solutions to any problem. Their supposed primitiveness was actually flexibility that the specialized alien species had lost over thousands of years of technological dependence. Crisis deepened when the Outer Rim Collective, a group of aggressive species that had been contained by human patrols for decades, launched coordinated expansion campaigns against weakened Council systems. Without human tactical expertise, the Council forces proved unable to respond effectively to enemies who combined alien technology with human-inspired strategies. They are using our own weapons against us more effectively than we can use them. Ourselves, reported Fleet Commander Valthara, after her forces suffered another devastating defeat. They adapt their tactics in real time based on battlefield conditions. Our forces follow predetermined strategies that become predictable after the first engagement. The economic collapse followed military failure. Trade routes protected by human patrols became too dangerous for commercial traffic. Manufacturing facilities designed by human engineers broke down without human maintenance. Agricultural systems managed by human specialists failed to produce adequate food supplies. Seth Kara found himself facing something no Council Prime had confronted in 50,000 years: a possible collapse of galactic civilization itself. The ancient species that had ruled the galaxy since before humans evolved were proving incapable of maintaining the systems that kept billions of beings alive and prosperous. Contact Earth immediately, Zethkara ordered during another crisis meeting. Offer humanity full council membership with complete voting rights, unrestricted technology access, and territorial concessions. Offer them anything they want. Response came directly from President Nancy Cooper herself, transmitted on all council frequencies, so every member species could hear it clearly. The Galactic Council had 30 years to offer humanity partnership based on mutual respect. Cooper's voice carried calm authority that made Sethkara's crystal form dim with recognition of superior leadership. Instead, you chose to treat us as useful servants whose contributions could be dismissed and whose opinions could be ignored. She paused, letting her words sink in across the galaxy. Humanity is no longer interested in joining your council. We have learned that some species cannot recognize equality even when it benefits them. We are building something better than what you offer. You cannot survive alone, Zethkara protested through the communication link. The galaxy is too dangerous for isolated species. Cooper's laugh carried no humor. Prime Zethkara, humanity survived ice ages that lasted thousands of years, diseases that killed half our population, and wars that devastated entire continents. We survived on a planet that produced predators specifically designed to hunt us, weather patterns that could kill us in minutes, and natural disasters that destroyed everything we built. Her voice grew stronger. We did not just survive these challenges. We conquered them. We turned a hostile world into our home, and then reached for the stars. Do you really think we cannot handle whatever the galaxy offers? The communication ended, leaving the council chambers in stunned silence. For the first time in their history, the ancient rulers of the galaxy faced the reality that they might not be the most capable species in their own domain. Outside their failing systems, humanity was building something new. Captain Tony Marshall stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, flagship of the newly formed Terran Federation, as they approached the Kepler system. 3 months had passed since President Cooper's rejection of the Galactic Council's desperate offer, and humanity had not been idle during their withdrawal from galactic civilization. While the Council struggled with cascading system failures, human exploration fleets had been making contact with species the ancient galactic powers had ignored or dismissed. The galaxy contained thousands of intelligent species that the Council considered too primitive, too emotional, or too different to deserve membership in their exclusive organization. Humanity had decided to give these forgotten peoples the respect and partnership the Council had denied to Earth. Ambassador Sharon Lewis reports successful first contact protocols with the Zephyrians, announced Communications Officer Peter Davis from his station. They are requesting formal diplomatic relations. Marshall smiled as he reviewed the initial contact reports. The Zephyrians were a peaceful species with natural empathic abilities that allowed them to sense the emotions and intentions of other beings. The Council had rejected their application for membership centuries ago, claiming their emotional sensitivity made them unsuitable for rational governance. To humans, who had learned to value emotional intelligence, alongside logical thinking. The Zephyrians seemed like ideal partners. Their ability to sense deception and genuine intentions could prevent the kind of misunderstandings that led to conflicts. Their natural empathy made them excellent mediators and counselors. The Zephyrians have agreed to join our alliance, Lewis reported during the diplomatic briefing. They are offering full cooperation in exchange for mutual defense agreements and technology, sharing based on equal partnership. Similar successes followed across the galaxy's forgotten regions. The Crystalline Shard Collective had been dismissed by the Council as too emotional because their crystal bodies changed colors based on their feelings. Humans found their emotional honesty refreshing after dealing with the cold arrogance of Council species. The nomadic Star Wanderers had been rejected for Council membership because they refused to establish permanent planetary colonies, preferring to live on generation ships that traveled between star systems. The Council viewed this lifestyle as primitive and inefficient. Humans recognized fellow explorers who shared their drive to see what lay beyond the next horizon. Dr. Rachel Kim led the scientific exchange programs that were revolutionizing the capabilities of all Alliance members. Human curiosity and willingness to experiment combined with alien innovations to produce breakthrough discoveries that none of the species could have achieved alone. The Zephyrian emotional resonance technology, combined with human neural interface designs, has produced a communication system that can convey not just words, but feelings and intentions. Kim reported during the weekly science briefing, "We can now achieve perfect understanding between species with completely different thought processes." The Shard Collective contributed crystalline technology that could store vast amounts of information in structures smaller than human fingernails. When human engineers learned to interface this technology with their own computer systems, they created data storage devices that could hold the entire knowledge base of a civilization in a container the size of a book. Star Wanderer navigation techniques, developed over thousands of years of interstellar travel, enhanced human exploration capabilities exponentially. Their ships could navigate through regions of space that would confuse or destroy vessels, using standard Council navigation technology. "We are not trying to build another galactic council," explained Admiral Greg Thompson during a gathering of Alliance leaders on the Liberty. "We are creating something completely new. A confederation based on mutual respect, shared benefits, and the recognition that diversity makes us stronger rather than weaker." The Terran Confederation grew rapidly as word spread through the galaxy about this new alliance that welcomed all species as equals. Unlike the Council, which demanded that applicant species prove their worthiness through centuries of subservience, the Confederation evaluated potential members based on what they could contribute and what they needed in return. Commander Linda Hayes established the Confederation Defense Force using revolutionary military doctrine that would have been impossible under the Council's rigid hierarchy. Instead of organizing fleets by species, with each group maintaining their traditional specializations, she created mixed crews that maximized the unique abilities of each member. Human tactical thinking provided overall strategy and adaptability. Zephyrian empaths prevented friendly fire incidents by sensing the emotions and intentions of allied forces. Shard Collective members served as living computers, processing vast amounts of battle data instantaneously. Star Wanderer navigators could guide fleets through dangerous regions that would trap conventional forces. "Our first joint military exercise exceeded all expectations," Hayes reported to the Confederation Leadership Council. "Response times were 50% faster than pure human units. Coordination errors dropped to nearly zero, and tactical flexibility increased dramatically. The economic transformation proved equally remarkable. Engineer Paul Garcia developed industrial cooperatives that combined human manufacturing techniques with alien innovations to create production systems that outperformed Council facilities, despite using supposedly primitive management methods. Instead of the rigid specialization that characterized council economics, the Confederation encouraged cross-training and adaptation. Human workers learned shard crystal growing techniques. Zephyrian empaths became skilled at managing complex logistics by sensing the stress patterns of transportation networks. Star Wanderer nomads shared their resource conservation methods that allowed maximum efficiency with minimum waste. Production. Efficiency is up 60% compared to our old council contracts, Garcia reported during the monthly economic review. But more importantly, worker satisfaction is at levels we never achieved under the council system. When people feel valued and respected, they work better. The transformation was not just practical, but philosophical. The council had been built on the assumption that some species were naturally superior to others, that age and technological advancement granted the right to rule over younger civilizations. The Confederation rejected this hierarchy entirely. Every species brings something unique to our alliance, President Cooper explained during a broadcast to all Confederation worlds. Humans are good at adaptation and problem solving, but we are not superior to our partners. Zephyrians excel at understanding emotions and preventing conflicts. Shard beings can process information faster than any computer. Star Wanderers know secrets of space travel that we are still learning. She paused, looking directly into the camera with the kind of confidence that had made her a successful leader on Earth. The Council measured a species' worth by how closely they resembled the ancient founders. We measure worth by what each species contributes to the common good. Age does not grant wisdom automatically. Technology does not create character. Only by working together as equals can we build something better than any of us could achieve alone. When Council reconnaissance ships finally discovered the existence of the Confederation, they found not the struggling refugees they expected, but a thriving alliance that controlled nearly a quarter of the galaxy and continued expanding. More importantly, they found an organization that was attracting new members at a rate the Council had never achieved in its entire history. Species after species, tired of Council arrogance and neglect, petitioned for Confederation membership. They brought with them unique capabilities, valuable resources, and most importantly, the desire to be treated as partners rather than subjects. The Council, which had dismissed humanity as too primitive for membership, now faced a rival organization that embodied everything they had claimed to represent: cooperation, mutual respect, and the peaceful advancement of galactic civilization. The difference was that the Confederation actually delivered on these promises. 2 years after humanity's dramatic departure from the Galactic Council, Prime Zethkara stood in the ruins of what had once been the most powerful government in the galaxy. The great council chambers, built to showcase the majesty of ancient civilizations, now felt empty and cold. Half the member species had declared independence or simply stopped responding to council directives. The remaining members spent their time arguing about how to handle crises they could not solve. The Outer Rim War had spread to encompass nearly half the galaxy. Without human tactical expertise, council forces suffered defeat after defeat against enemies who combined alien technology with human-inspired strategies. Entire star systems had fallen to raiders who used unpredictable tactics and rapid adaptation that the specialized council species could not counter. Internal rebellions erupted as member species questioned whether the ancient government that had ruled for 50,000 years still deserved their loyalty. Economic collapse threatened even the core worlds with starvation as transportation networks failed and manufacturing facilities broke down without human maintenance and innovation. We must face reality, Zethkara announced to the emergency council session. His crystal form had dimmed significantly over the past months, showing the strain of watching his civilization crumble. The Council as we have known it is ending. We can either adapt or become extinct. The remaining delegates sat in stunned silence. Never in galactic history had a Council Prime spoken so bluntly about their government's failures. "You propose surrender to the humans?" asked high-voiced Zixith, his mandibles clicking with agitation. "We who have guided galactic civilization since before their species evolved?" "I propose survival," Sethkara replied. "Our pride has cost us everything. The humans were right when they said we confused age with wisdom, tradition with effectiveness." The journey to Earth took 3 weeks, giving Sethkara time to review intelligence reports about humanity's new Terran Confederation. What he discovered shocked him more than the collapse of Council authority. The humans had not simply survived their exile from galactic civilization. They had built something better. The Confederation controlled over 30% of the galaxy and continued expanding. As more species petitioned for membership, their economy was thriving. Their military had never lost a major engagement, and their member species showed levels of cooperation and satisfaction that the Council had never achieved. Most disturbing of all, the Confederation's success came from embracing everything the Council had rejected. They welcomed emotional species, primitive civilizations, and unconventional thinkers. They promoted cooperation over hierarchy, adaptation over tradition, and mutual respect over ancient privilege. President Nancy Cooper received the Council delegation in the rebuilt United Nations building in New York, a structure that symbolized humanity's own journey from conflict to cooperation. She sat behind a simple wooden desk, wearing a plain business suit that contrasted sharply with the elaborate ceremonial robes that Council leaders traditionally wore. Prime Sethkara Cooper sighed, her voice carrying the calm authority that had made her one of Earth's most effective leaders. "I understand you wish to discuss the current galactic situation." Sethkara felt his crystal form flicker with patterns that indicated deep humiliation. Never had he imagined himself coming as a supplicant to the species the Council had dismissed as too primitive for full membership. "President Cooper, the Galactic Council formally acknowledges that we were wrong in our assessment of humanity," he began, his translated words carrying the full weight of 50,000 years of overturned assumptions. "We underestimated your species catastrophically. We offer unconditional surrender of Council authority to human leadership." Cooper exchanged glances with her advisors. Admiral Thompson, who had built the Confederation Defense Force, Dr. Kim, whose scientific programs had revolutionized interspecies cooperation, Ambassador Lewis, who had negotiated humanity's first alien partnerships. Each of them had contributed to building something that surpassed the ancient Council in every measurable way. "We are not interested in ruling you," Cooper replied calmly. "We tried partnership once, remember? You rejected it in favor of keeping us as useful servants." "Then what do you want?" high-voiced Sixth H asked desperately. His species was facing starvation as their rigid organizational systems collapsed without human flexibility to handle unexpected problems. Cooper gestured to the holographic display. That showed Confederation space, now encompassing nearly half the galaxy and growing daily. The same thing we always wanted. Respect as equals. The opportunity to contribute our strengths while learning from others. The chance to build a civilization based on cooperation rather than hierarchy. She stood and walked to the large window overlooking New York Harbor, where ships from dozens of different species were loading and unloading cargo in a display of interspecies commerce that the Council had never managed to achieve. "We have built something better than your Council ever was," Cooper continued. "A true alliance where every member contributes according to their abilities and receives according to their needs. Where a species' value is not measured by their age or technology level, but by what they bring to the common good." "You would accept Council species as Confederation members?" Sethkara asked, hope flickering in his crystal matrix. Individual. Species, yes, Cooper replied, but not as rulers or subjects. As equals, the old hierarchy dies with the Council. In the Confederation, no species is considered naturally superior to any other. We measure contribution, not heritage. The choice presented to the galaxy was stark but simple. Join the growing Confederation as equal partners in a cooperative alliance, or maintain the failing council structure and face inevitable extinction. The decision was not difficult for most species to make. The Veltar, recognizing that human engineering approaches produced better results than their own traditional methods, petitioned for Confederation membership within a month. Their crystal technology, when combined with human innovation and shard collective data storage, created computational systems beyond anything previously possible. Synthoids discovered that their logical processing abilities were enhanced, rather than diminished when combined with human creativity and Zephian emotional intelligence. Their mechanical precision provided stability for the intuitive leaps that drove Confederation scientific advancement. Even the proud Kryphek eventually acknowledged reality. Their hive mind organizational efficiency, when freed from rigid hierarchical constraints and combined with human adaptability, created administrative systems that served billions of beings more effectively than the old council bureaucracy ever had. Sethkara himself became the last Council Prime when he formally dissolved the institution that had ruled the galaxy for 50 millennia. In its place rose the Terran Confederation, not human-dominated but human-inspired. A government based on the radical idea that diversity was strength, that cooperation was more effective than competition, and that respect had to be earned rather than demanded. The species that dismissed us as too chaotic, too emotional, too primitive, Cooper observed during the ceremony that officially ended the Galactic Council, now looked to human leadership not for domination, but for the wisdom to build something better than any of us could achieve alone. Captain Marshall, now serving as Confederation Defense Coordinator, watched from the ceremony balcony as former Council species integrated their fleets with Confederation forces. Human adaptability provided overall coordination, but every species contributed their unique capabilities to create military forces more effective than any single species fleet. We never wanted to prove we belonged in galactic civilization, Marshall reflected to his staff. We wanted to show the galaxy what civilization could become when based on mutual respect instead of ancient prejudices. The transformation was not complete overnight. Generations of hierarchical thinking could not be overturned by simple declarations. But across the galaxy, species that had spent millennia competing for dominance began learning to cooperate for mutual benefit. The Terran Confederation grew into something unprecedented in galactic history, a truly united government where diversity was celebrated, innovation was encouraged, and every member species was valued for their unique contributions to the common good. In the end, humanity's greatest victory was not proving they deserved a place among the stars, but showing the galaxy that civilization itself could evolve beyond the limitations of pride, prejudice, and the assumption that age automatically granted wisdom. Species that had been dismissed as too primitive to join galactic civilization had taught the galaxy how to become truly civilized.